Welcome to HB Reddit Stories. Today we will see stories of r/am I the a-hole. Am I the a-hole for telling my boyfriend he crossed a line with my work-life balance? I, 28F, work long, intense hours at a high-pressure job, and my boyfriend, 30M, knows this. Recently, I finally set boundaries to stop taking work calls after 7 p.m. This has helped me unwind and prioritize our time together, which he initially seemed to support. Last night, my boss called around 8:30 p.m., but I ignored it. My boyfriend asked why I didn't pick up, and I explained I didn't want work intruding on my evening. To my shock, he picked up my phone and answered the call himself, saying I was too busy relaxing to talk. I was mortified. My boss sounded annoyed, and I had to spend 30 minutes on the call, only because he made it sound like I was slacking off. Afterward, I was furious and told him it wasn't his place to interfere with my work like that. He thinks I'm overreacting and shouldn't be ashamed of setting boundaries. Am I the a-hole? Top comments. Wow, this is really inappropriate. He just undermined you and damaged your relationship with your boss. To me it's creepy that he even answers your phone at all unless there was an emergency, much less when he knows it's your boss calling. Not the a-hole. Edit for all the men unable to understand. Yes, prior to cell phones we all answered landlines for each other. The very obvious difference is that those were almost always communal lines. Cell phones are not communal property in most cases, and unless you and your partner have agreed that you would like one another to answer each other's phones, doing this can often be considered intrusive for both the person whose phone you answered and the caller who was not expecting to interact with you. If you are doing this in any way to screen your partner's calls or gain access to information you wouldn't otherwise have, then you are engaging in abusive behavior. Examine your motives carefully. OP replies. Yeah, it was unsettling. I'm definitely setting stricter boundaries now, especially around my phone. Not the a-hole. If you continue with him, tell him you're setting a boundary, and he needs to prove he is able to respect boundaries. Pretty hypocritical to try to support your boundaries while breaking them so openly. OP replies. Good point. I'll definitely talk to him about respecting boundaries fully. What the F, tell him it's never okay for him to handle your personal life without your input. Not the a-hole. OP replies. Agreed. It was over the line for him to step in like that. Next story. Am I the a-hole for making a woman lose a costume contest? So I am the events chair of my fraternity for the semester and I planned out a Halloween party that happened yesterday. At the party we typically have a huge costume contest. You pay $5 to enter and if you win the pot. We usually pull about 30 to 50 entries. So the prize is pretty nice. This year we had 40 people enter and about 160 people attending. In years past, the winner has been this one specific chick that my brothers want to F. Her costume is usually the typical sorority girl costume, an animal of some kind, boots, fishnet leggings, a short skirt, basically a bra or corset, and then animal ears and light face paint. Now I'm not a Halloween Nazi. This year my costume was literally just angel wings, and white shorts, and a halo. I know fully that I'm dressing up so hot guys that think I'm hot will take notice and that it's not a good costume. Her costume isn't good. Sure, she looks good in it. But the point of the party is who has the best breasts. So we have the contest, and she's wearing her MO. She was a B, but was hanging out and her boobs were about to fall out of her shirt. So we held the contest, people voted anonymously, and guess what? She won. But by one vote. I hadn't voted yet, so I simply casted my vote, then my vice chairman, who agreed with me, casted his vote. That just happened to be enough to put her at second place. When I told my brothers they complained and moaned about it, but I told them she simply didn't win and she should do better next year. They eventually talked me into creating a runner-up prize of $50 to the girl. When we announced the winner, she was visibly upset. This was the first time she hasn't won in the last 4 years. Now apparently, last night one of my brothers was simping hard and told her that I intentionally voted against her because I didn't like her. Not true, I'm genuinely apathetic about her. She found me later that night and cursed me out and said I had a problem with her. I told her simply that we weren't having an indecent costume contest, but a best costume contest and that she's lucky we bent the rules to give her $50. We argued and ended up getting separated. Now a lot of my brothers are pissed at me for piss her off. Top comments. You are the a-hole for bending the rules for her. You're still giving her special treatment. Where did this come from, the pot? Because if I won and was told that I was getting the full amount, $200, and you gave me $150 instead, I'd be mad. Also, I'd be mad if I were a runner-up last year who lost to this girl to get nothing, only to find out this year she lost and got $50 anyway. You are the a-hole for lying. You are not apathetic about her. You wrote a whole post on the internet detailing how much you don't like her. You don't even describe the costume that you did vote for, which indicates your vote was all about her and nothing else. Not the a-hole, you all voted, she didn't win. Was it because some people voted because they were tired of her winning or because you were jealous of her yourself? Who knows and who cares? It doesn't matter. The votes were made and she didn't win this year. Her being upset about it and others suggesting a consolation prize, thinking with their third leg, is wrong for trying to change the rules after the fact. So, no go. Just tell her and them, like you said, better luck next year. Next story. Am I the a-hole for having a go at my boyfriend when he ate the last of my food while I was in the bathroom? So, my boyfriend, 24M, and I, 24F, went to a restaurant for only our second time eating out together. This week has been really rough at work, and I asked him to go out for food, saying I needed a pick-me-up. I mentioned I wasn't super hungry since I had already eaten, but I was really looking forward to having some dumplings and soup. I even talked about how excited I was for the dumplings during the drive there. When we ordered, I made it clear that I only wanted 4 dumplings and some soup. My boyfriend ordered 2 large mains for himself since he has a bigger appetite. When the food arrived, I shared my soup with him and tasted a bite of his food, but I was mostly focused on my dumplings. When my dumplings came, I ate one before I needed to run to the bathroom. When I got back, he had eaten both of the remaining dumplings. I was really upset because I had been looking forward to them and only got to eat one. I told him how disappointed I was and called him selfish, saying he never thinks of me. I asked him to pay for how much he ate since I had specifically wanted those dumplings. I don't want to make a big deal out of it, but I feel like he should have asked before just taking them, especially since I had expressed how excited I was. Am I the a-hole for getting upset, calling him out for being selfish and asking him to pay more? Top comments. Not the a-hole, but fighting over food is never a problem in these situations. Sorry for making an assumption, but I don't think it's the food that angered but a reoccurring pattern from him. Why don't you guys have a long conversation? When there's a big problem that couples refuse to talk about, they will fight about smaller things to release the steam, but also making up after it is easier. If there's a bigger problem in your relationship, smaller fights will occur more often. OP replies. Honestly, I think that's a very fair assumption because you're spot on. I reckon it's chat time. Who eats someone else's food without asking? That's ridiculous and rude. I hope you ordered some more dumplings and ate them before leaving the restaurant. Not the a-hole. OP replies. I didn't want to eat more because I was annoyed, but I'll make sure I get them and hoard it. Not the a-hole at all. He definitely shouldn't have eaten them without asking and should have offered to buy you more. If he is eating 2 entrees and stealing your food, it sounds like he might have some issues with overeating. LOL. I am in the US and 2 entrees at most Asian restaurants would be enough food for 4 people. OP replies. He works out a lot, so he does eat a lot of food. But if he was that hungry, I wish he had ordered more. Next story. Am I the a-hole for telling my sister's fiancé that she is infertile? I will try to keep this as simple as possible. My 26M sister Emma 29F was very sick in high school. Her choice was either to die young or be able to conceive children. It was a hard decision for her and she doesn't like to talk about it. She has been dating Adam 29M for about 6 years and he is really nice. The whole family loves him. He proposed to her last year and they were planning to marry in March next year. But here is the problem, Adam really wants children. He always plays around with our little cousins at family events and talks about what he wants to do and teach his future children. We always thought that they were just going to be adopting, so we never brought it up. But since the engagement I have noticed that he always talks about them as their children, as in biological. I don't know how to explain it, but it didn't seem like they were going to adopt a child. After thinking about it for a while, I decided to talk with Emma about it. I asked her out and gently brought up the topic. She did seem a bit angry about me mentioning it, but she explained to me that Adam treats adoption the same as giving birth and that he is happy all the same. It sounded believed, but I know my sister, she was lying. During the entire conversation she could not look me in the eye. After a month I finally decided to talk to Adam. This Sunday we were gathered at my parents' house for dinner, and while everyone was busy and we were alone, I asked Adam how the adoption proceedings were going. Were they going to start now or after they got married? He looked surprised and asked me what I was talking about. I mentioned how he wants many kids, so they should probably be starting with the whole process early. He asked me if Emma wants to adopt a child because they had never talked about it. Since my parents were coming back, I asked him to talk to me later. Around the end of dinner I asked him for some help with my phone and lead him to the balcony, and I was honest with him. I asked him if he knew that Emma can't have children. At first he thought I was joking, but when he saw that I was serious he got this dead look on his face. I told him some of the details and said that it would probably be best if he talked with Emma for the full story. He was quiet for the rest of the evening. When they got how they apparently got in a major fight. I know that he is currently staying with friends and asked for the ring back, but nothing else. Emma hates me. And our parents are mostly on her side and think that I shouldn't have said anything. I thought I was doing the right thing. This is such a huge secret to keep from your future partner, but maybe it really wasn't my place to say anything. Top comments. Not the a-hole. I'm struggling with this, because it is obviously such a big betrayal of your sister. It wasn't your secret to tell. And yet, marrying someone while leading them on about something that can never be. That seems like an even bigger betrayal. He deserves to know. She deserves someone to love, and to raise children with, but it has to be someone she is honest with about how they are going to do it. Emma hates you, but you did the right thing. Hopefully Adam will forgive her and they can live happily ever after with their adopted children. But the chances of that would have been much higher if she had been honest with you. Remember, she also lied to you, in saying that she had talked with Adam about this. And as a result, her lie made it almost reasonable for you to talk to him about it. I mean, she said that she had told him, so what was there for you to reveal? So Emma seems to be chalking up additional a-hole points, and I'm feeling even more forgiveness for you here. Not the a-hole. Though I think I would have first told my sister, I know you're lying, either you tell him the truth or I will, but honestly she had 6 years to tell him. The guy needed to know. Everyone sucks here, except the fiancé. You for telling something that wasn't your damn place. Your sister for not being honest to someone she planned to marry. You tell him by date or I will, is more than reasonable. You did not do that. I prob going to be the later here and say you're not the a-hole. Most PPL will say you are, that it was not your business to tell, but I'm of the firm belief that you had every right to tell. She was lying to him and trying to trap him in a marriage knowing she could not give him the one thing he wanted. If she had been upfront and they decided together that it was okay and adoption was fine, then that is different, but they didn't. She lied. I'm sorry she's your sister, but she is getting what she deserved because you cannot start of a marriage with lies. I hope your parents wake up, because letting her think this is okay is wrong. You did the right thing, of that I have no doubt, because I cannot have kids and my husband knew way before we even started talking about marriage. It was one of the first things I told him. Next story. Am I the a-hole for surprising my wife with food she mentioned wanting, but not getting exactly what she expected? My wife has mentioned in the past that she wanted to try the Krabby Patty burger and a pineapple frosty from Wendy's. On my way home from work, I decided to surprise her. I picked up a Krabby Patty burger, a chicken sandwich for myself, and 2 pineapple frosties. I knew she was about an hour away, so I told her I had a surprise waiting for her when she got home. To keep the food fresh, I put her burger in the fridge and the frosty in the freezer. I even ordered the burger without lettuce, thinking I could avoid it getting soggy, and we have lettuce at home that we could add fresh. When she got home, she was excited about the frosty and asked, "Is there a Krabby Patty burger too?" I told her to check the fridge, and that's when things went downhill. She got upset because the burger was cold and I didn't get fries. She said that real justice would have been me waiting for her to come home so we could both get fresh food together, or at least putting my food in the fridge too, so we'd both be eating cold food. She accused me of always expecting grand thanks for doing gestures that aren't as big as I think they are and said I didn't listen to her, since she wanted the full meal, not just the burger and Frosty. She also said she's not going to pretend to be grateful for something that wasn't what she asked for. I was just trying to do something nice, and now I feel like my gesture was totally unappreciated. Am I the a-hole? Update: so we talked about it and I explained that I didn't have a problem if she would have said, "I appreciate the gesture but I would have liked to get it together," or if we would have waited until she was home. I told her I understood why she was upset and we both agreed that there was a better way to talk about it. She took a bite just now and said, "This is just a Dave's single with fancy sauce," so she doesn't even want it anymore hot or cold. Update 2, alright y'all, thanks for the discussion. I'm the a-hole and I'll wear that hat for this one. Top comments. What gesture? You picked up fast food. Don't act like you slaved away in that drive-thru. Not to mention leftover fast food is nasty. You didn't even wait to share the meal with her FFS. Yeah, you are the a-hole. I don't think you're an a-hole, but in all fairness, who wants to eat a cold, hour-old fast food hamburger? It sounds kind of gross. You are the a-hole. It's all a bit thoughtless and insensitive. You could have waited until she got home and took a little trip together to Wendy's and on the way had a little conversation about how your days went and then tried the food together when it was hot and fresh. These tiny shared experiences together are what accumulate into a relationship that feels satisfying and connected. Instead, you treated yourself to hot fresh food. She got no shared experience with you. All she got was a cold crappy novelty fast food burger and a Frosty that was messed up because it was frozen. I don't believe for 1 second you would buy yourself fast food and then immediately stick it in the fridge for you to eat later. Why would you think that would be acceptable to her? I get the impression that you wanted to be thoughtful, with the least amount of inconvenience or effort possible to yourself, because it would have been so easy just to wait and go together. And if that wasn't the intent, then you gotta start working on building the empathy that allows you to see that nobody likes cold stale but burgers. You are the a-hole who makes a big deal about getting fast food when they are hungry, eating their food and putting a cold burger in the fridge. Leftover fast food is garbage. I mean, fast food is literally garbage and chemicals. Cold fast food is worse. Who makes a big surprise out of an hour-old burger and frozen drink that is undrinkable until it defrosts? You seem like the man who babysits their kids and expects a thank you for vacuuming once a month. I hope you guys liked this video. If you did, make sure like, comment, share and subscribe the channel HB Reddit Stories.